Welcome to the Mind and Basketball Podcast, also known as M.O.B Podcast, episode 89. I'm Evan.
I'm Ja.
This is our basketball podcast where we recap, break down, and analyze players and teams from the previous games, the previous day. How are you this Monday, Ja?
Chilling. Tired, but chilling.
You always say the same answer.
I told you it would. Okay, look. I'll change it up next time, but it will always be tired, though.
No, you can't change it. That's how you feel. That's how you feel. That's how you feel.
I know you feel the same way.
Sometimes. It depends on the day. As for everyone else, I hope you're having a good day, Oprah. I hope you will have a good day. A lot of basketball action from last night. A lot of good games. Well, not a lot of good games. A few good games. And some blowouts. So let's go right into it. First, starting off with one of the few good games of the night. The Pelicans going up against the Boston Celtics. You take it away for this game.
Well, yeah. It started off good. Both teams were really close going at it for that first half. Nobody got onto a big run. Both with a lot of, I wouldn't say it was intense or it was energetic, but it was more like pace and flow, and everybody was getting into their rhythm. And it was like that for most of the game. And then, as the third quarter went on, the Pelicans started to hit their stride. And it went on into the fourth quarter, and they started to gain momentum. And then, let's be honest, this is two teams that have been struggling for the season, right? And they trying to find that kind of that momentum push. And this is perfect. Two teams looking for that momentum push. Why not put them against each other and see what happens? And as the Pelicans in that fourth quarter started to have that kind of stride, the Celtics start to see their back against the wall. And as a result, timeout occurred, and probably close to the 6-minute mark left in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
They picked up their intensity, they built up their energy, and as a result, they started to build up momentum, and it got to a point in which the moment it hit 94 to 110, how the Celtics basically went on a 13-0 run. 13 straight points without the Pelicans scoring a bucket.
Yeah.
That was such a great thing. And this could have been either way, this kind of been a really bad look for the Pelicans if they lost this game. But then Brandon
Tatum
Ingram
got snatched back. Let's just say it. Just say it. Show the clip too. Brandon Ingram, the snatchback, step back on Tatum.
Yep.
Adam dancing. He's a Tatum. How Tatum do other people. That's what he did.
Yep. He did a nasty snatchback, and that was basically the dagger for the Pelicans after being in a drought throughout that scoring run that the Celtics had. And don't get me wrong, that was an amazing fight, and that's the kind of momentum that you'd like to see the Celtics play with, especially games down the stretch like this, even though they should never find themselves in this situation. But Ingram just basically hit that dagger, and then the Pelicans was able to take this game 115 to 109.
Yeah, the Celtics, great job by the Celtics. Kemba Walker had it going. You see the impact he has when he has it going. Tatum as well, 34 and 9. And this was a game they played without Jaylen Brown. So you got to put that in mind. They did all this without Jaylen Brown. And this was Evan Fournier's debut, even though it didn't seem like it was. But the Pelicans had the same amount of points as we did. The Pelicans, Brandon Ingram and Zion, I mean, what else can you say when they clicking and when they can get a few stops down the stretch? You can win a lot of their games in which they lose.
Exactly. And here's the thing. Watching Zion, right? We already know how Ingram is, pure bucket, right? Pure bucket, pure scorer. But watching Zion, I don't know, I know we say it so many times, but for a dude that size to have that kind of movement and mobility at his feet and everything, and the way he moves and the way he moves like a feather. He moves so light. I know he looks powerful, but if you really watch him when he has the ball in his hands, his movements look kind of more, as you might put it, naturally smooth. And it's just it's crazy and it's weird the way he could just get to the basket. I don't know if you noticed that, but the way it looks to me, it's crazy. It's just crazy to me. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, Zion he's a different type of monster. Yeah. And yes, in the end, it was the Pelicans picking up the much needed win in their race to the play-in game in that Western Conference.
Well, good try, though, Celtics.
I guess. Let's go to the top of the hour, or the top of the night. The next primetime game, the Milwaukee Bucks going up against the Los Angeles Clippers. No Paul George. And it seemed like they was missing him in that first portion, that first quarter of that game, because the Bucks came out running and gunning. They got to an early lead, to a fast, hot start in that first quarter. But then in that second quarter, the Clippers just first to tie. I mean, it was like night and day between that first and second quarter. And they came out running, and they came out attacking, and they came out with the hustle. They came out with the rhythm, and they had key stops in defense in that second quarter. And by halftime, they had taken the lead after being down double digits in the first quarter.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And then from that point on to that third quarter, they just went on a big run.
Never looked back.
Never looked back. And even though the Bucks tried to get within striking ditches in that fourth quarter, almost similarly to how it was in their last game on that Sunday night, the Clippers and the Bucks. The Clippers had stops. They had they had answers for them. Every time they scored.
Yep.
So yeah, as a result, it was the Clippers picking up this win and they blowout.
Yeah, you said it best. The Bucks, you again, we talked about it last time a little bit on and off the record, how what happened the last game, in which the Clippers looked like they had the game and then the Bucks just flipped the script. Well, this is what happened tonight. Also, it went vice versa. The Bucks had it and looked like they was going to go away with it, even though it was real early in the game. And then the Clippers found that switch and they was able to flip the script themselves. Just like we said, the intensity, the defensive prowess of that Clippers team, which we always like to talk about and praise when they're in that mode, in that mentality. And as a result, it shifted from that to not only was it just doing it on both ends of the floor, but the three ball really came up big for them in that second half.
Yes.
And it was all because of not all because of this one person, but mainly because of this person, Luke Kennard. Luke Kennard came up with big shot after big shot from deep in the perimeter. And you could just see as it helped out along with the way how they was able to maintain this lead.
Yeah, Luke Kennard replacing Paul George in that starting lineup. He came up big for them. Marcus Morris as well. Kawhi Leonard. Well, Kawhi Leonard came up big for him all the time. And Terrence Mann as well. He's been playing really good basketball as of late. So I give a shout out to Terrence Mann. He's really contributing for his Clippers team, kind of in replacement of Lou Williams. In terms of he's coming off the bench, giving them bench production how Lou Williams was.
Yeah.
So nonetheless, great win by the Clippers, even though Giannis still did his thing with 32 on the night. But great win by the Clippers team. All right. A few other games that happened around the league, much of which were not interesting. But anything you'd like to go over first? Anything you'd like to talk about? Anything that you saw?
The Nets versus Timberwolves. Kyrie returned, and let's just say that. And let's just say with him returning, well, the Nets are always going to be the Nets, and that's how they look like in the first half. Just playing with the Nets offensive basketball looks like, just being dominant, being powerful. Everybody getting their shots, getting the rock, and they basically had a double-digit lead, but it's like the moment that there was you saw within certain parts of the game in the first half, but when it came to the second half, you most definitely start to see it. But the Timberwolves, you start to see that they start to build up their energy. They start to build up their intensity. They start to play with more energy on the defensive end, and it translated to the offensive end. And then as the game was winding down and going down, you start to see they were not backing down. And we always talked about this so many times. You can't beat this Nets team defensively. Let's just be honest now. The only way you could beat this Nets team is if not only if you try your best on the defensive end, but you got to also keep up with them on the scoring end. And I think that's what the Timberwolves were able to do. They got stops and they was able to convert on the other end. And it got to a point where as the game was getting close to its closing moments where the Nets had a double-digit lead. and we looked like they was gonna close out the game. And then the Timberwolves decided to go on a 9-0 run, in which basically the Nets didn't score a point for a good minute in that stretch. And they looked like
Well,
they
yeah,
were
that's why it's 9-0. Of
exactly.
course, they didn't score points.
Exactly. Karl Anthony Towns hits a three. Then Anthony Edwards attacks the basket. Ricky Rubio passes the ball, gives it off to Jalen McDaniels. He hits a shot, and then it went from basically the Nets having that 110 lead to basically being down by, I believe, just 3.
Yeah.
And then, but yet, they closed. They was able to pick it up, their energy at the last moment, nearly blown the lead. But yet, they was able to pick up their energy, and as a result, they was able to ice the game at the free throw.
Yeah, Timberwolves, Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Edwards, really been carrying this load for them, or at least been trying to, in these past few weeks. Karl Anthony Towns finished with 31 and 12 on the night. Anthony Edwards finished with 23 and 10 on the night. As for the Nets, Kyrie Irving, as you mentioned, with that hot start, 27 on the night, and James Harden, MVP candidate, another 30-point triple-double, 38, 11, and 13. So, yeah, gutsy effort by the Timberwolves team, but nonetheless, good job by this Nets team to survive.
Yeah. Yep.
If we see much of that, are you really going to make it to the finals? All right. Next thing that you'd like to go over.
Next thing I'd like to go over is the Pacers versus the Wizards. And I'm just going to cut to it. It was a close game for majority game until that fourth quarter, and it's all because of the energy, the tenacity, the intensity, all the good things you can talk about with this dude. And Russell Westbrook.
Yes, Russell Westbrook.
Being that main driving force for he's basically what this team needs always. Again, they've been having an up and down year, but again, as I alluded to before, and we talked about so many times in the case, when Westbrook is playing at this level, with or without Bill on the floor, there's a more likely chance that this team succeeds. And you basically seen it within that fourth quarter. He picked up his game and he was looking, and he was just doing everything. He was balling out. Finished with
35, 14, and 21 assists.
What a monster stat line. The dude has been doing this for a good minute now. And whether you like to call it stat chasing, stat padding,
stat padding. Yeah, stat padding. That's nothing. That's just stat padding.
Yeah.
That's nothing. I mean, sure.
Whatever kind of casual talk you want to, whatever kind of casual talk, stuff you want to put on Westbrook.
You can curse. You got to cut it out, nigga.
Yeah. Just know you cannot really say much if it's resulting in situations like this. Because believe it or not, if you have watched Westbrook and what he has been doing, he's been putting up these kind of numbers. They mostly led to wins. With him legit, like at times, past teams and this current team now, at times, he's been helping carry them.
Yeah.
But it was all said and done. It was a good fight by the Pacers, but the Wizards, thanks to Mr. Westbrook, he was able to pull it out in the end. They were able to pull out the win in the end.
Yes. Russell Westbrook, 35, 14, and 11. Still credit to the Pacers. This was a really good game.
35, 14, and 21. You said 11.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Sabonis finished with 35 and 11. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah. So, great game. And Russell Westbrook, with that monster stat line, he becomes the fourth time that he's done this, in which that he had a 2020 triple-double. He has done that 4 times, which is the most out of anybody ever. He was tied previously with third. He was tied previously with 3, with 2 other people, Oscar Robertson and Magic Johnson. Now he's passed both of them. So what else can you say about the stat pattern?
Yeah, casuals are going to still find a way. They're going to always find a way to say something about this. So it don't even matter.
Hey, he has no rings, so yeah, he's just stat padding. But all right, I guess I'll talk through the rest of the games that happened around the league. The Miami Heat and the New York Knicks, and this was a very gritty, gutsy battle, as you can tell from two defensive-minded teams, especially the Knicks. You know, Tom Thibodeau loves that little gritty, hard-nosed, old-school type basketball, and this is how it really went, especially in that first half. It was very low scoring, a lot of defense. And the Knicks had a lead in the first half, but then the third quarter hit, and man, Miami Heat just went on a big run.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler and Bam and Tyler Hero was coming up big from down the stretch. And even though the Knicks tried to get some offense going, get some rhythm going in that fourth quarter, the Heat had the answer. And as a result, Heat pick up their win and break their 6-game losing streak.
Oh.
And no Oladipo for last night, but I believe he will be playing Wednesday.
Okay.
The Raptors and the Pistons. The Raptors has been struggling badly as of the past 2 weeks, and their struggles continue as they lose to the worst team in the Eastern Conference, Detroit Pistons. And my goodness, I mean they was getting blown out. I believe they're losing by 15.
Yeah.
And they lost this game by, if I can do math, 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was key to the Pistons because they had a lot of bench production. I think they had like 4 people in double digits coming off the bench.
Yeah.
When it's like that, how can you lose when you got that much bench production giving you as much as the starters?
Yeah.
So yeah, as a result, the Pistons beat the Toronto Raptors. The Grizzlies and the Houston Rockets, best team in the league, and surprisingly, the Rockets kept with them. This was a competitive, hard-fought game from first quarter, second quarter, and the third quarter. Very surprising. But in that fourth quarter, which the Rockets lose so many of their games, the Grizzlies were able to take control late, and as a result, it was the Grizzlies picking up the win.
They really wish it was 3 quarters in that game, huh?
Well, yeah. Yeah. The Mavericks and the Thunder. Luka is back, so yeah, they won. Luka and Porzingis, they returned for this game. Both of them having 20-plus games. Porzingis finished with 20. Luka finished with 25. And as a result, this was a blowout win against this injured undermanned Thunder team.
Yeah.
The Kings and the Spurs. The Kings been playing really well as of late. And they are looking to get into that playing game. And this was a win that they needed up against the Spurs team. And they got it. They got this win in a blowout against the Spurs. De'Aaron Fox finished with 24. Rashawn Holmes finished with 23 and 12. And this was also a really well-balanced scoring load from this Kings team. So great win by the Sacramento Kings. The Jazz and the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Jazz won by 39. The Bulls and the Golden State Warriors, and Stephen Curry is back. So you know who won this game. Despite Vucevic 21 on the night, despite some good offense from the Bulls, you know they played limited defense. And like I said, Curry is back, and he finished with 32 in his first game back in a week from that tailbone injury. So yeah, great win by this Warriors team, halting the Chicago Bulls.
Yeah.
But all right, it is prediction time for tonight's set of games, as there's really no news. Actually, there is one piece of news. Jeff Teague has been announced that he will be signing with the Milwaukee Bucks. A good little backup point guard for the Bucks. Nice depth, nice veteran leadership. Yeah. He's reuniting with his former coach Mike Budenholzer as they were together on that known famous Hawks team back in 2014 when they won 60 games and went to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yep.
So nice little pickup by the Bucks.
Yeah, nice little pickup. It helps out with their depth off the bench.
Yeah, and veteran experience.
Yeah.
So yeah. But all right. Predictions for tonight's set of games. Only 4 games on the nights. But let's get through it. Hopefully they will be interesting. First, starting off the Charlotte Hornets going against the Washington Wizards.
Hornets.
The first and only primetime game of the night's NBA TV, 9 o'clock. It is the Philadelphia 76ers going up against the Denver Nuggets. We got
I got the Denver Nuggets.
And I got the Nuggets as well. The Atlanta Hawks going up against the Phoenix Suns.
Phoenix Suns.
Phoenix Suns. And lastly, the Orlando Magic going up against the Los Angeles Clippers.
Clippers.
The Clippers. All right. I think it's time to wrap things up. Any final thoughts?
No.
Actually, I have a final thought on the Sacramento Kings. Like I said, they have been playing really well as of late. Matter of fact, they have won the last 5 games that they have been playing. Not only that, they are only 1 game behind the Golden State Warriors for the play-in games. Let's see if they can do it. Let's see if they can do it. What do you think?
Not against Golden State. As long as, like, let me tell you something. If there was no such thing as a man named Stephen Curry on that Golden State team, then I want to say, yeah, they got it. But with Stephen Curry on that Golden State team, it's not a chance. I'm sorry. It may look like a chance, but there's not a chance. There's not a chance. I'm sorry.
De'Aaron.
Look at as talented and as great as De'Aaron is. Yes, he's better than Ja Morant, but not Stephen Curry.
You got to say Ja Morant. What is he even talking about, Ja? Leave him alone.
All right, man. Look, if that reporter could do it, then I'm going to do it, and I'm going to speak the truth.
Listen, I think anything is possible. Like KG said, anything is possible.
You're right about that. Anything in life is possible. But let me tell you something. I saw Stephen Curry kill teams with half-court threes.
But hey, who says they have to take Curry's spot? I mean, the Warriors spot. The Grizzlies are there too. Spurs are there too. The Mavericks are there too. Spurs have been slipping, actually.
Yeah, so, Spurs have been slipping. But I feel like that's a guaranteed spot for Dallas. Luka's back, Porzingis is back, and they look like they're constantly always getting into their ways. I know there's times in which they may look bad, but those two are finally finding their stride. They had it last year, and then Porzingis got hurt, but now they're finally back to that. So I feel like they got it.
Okay, what about that man and his team right behind me?
That man and his team, I feel like it's going to be a bumpy road for them. I think they got one of the tougher schedules too still in the second half of the season. I may be wrong, but I feel like they're going to be able to toughen it out for at least the 9th or the 10th spot. I feel like the Spurs are going to slip though because of the fact of everything that's been going on, but I feel like they're still going to be in there. I just don't. But I said again with that Golden State team, I see Curry though. I see Curry, star power, just straight up star power, and what he could do. So it's just like I just don't see. No disrespect to De'Aaron Fox in company, I just don't see them being there. Like they could be next to it. I just don't see them opening the door and going through.
Well, one thing is for sure. This will be a very interesting last 2 months of the NBA regular season.
Yep.
That being said, thank you guys for watching today's pod. Make sure to tune into tomorrow's podcast. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Also, follow IG down in the description below.
And once again, I am Evan.
And I'm Ja.
And this is the Mind of Basketball Podcast.